Today I respond to comments.
Yeah.
We talk about construction.
Steps and
And I get compared to Mr. Beast. That's f***ing awesome. So welcome to the video today. I thought I would actually respond to a number of the YouTube comments. Now, I know that everyone says never pay attention to YouTube comments. However, I disagree. I think you shouldn't internalize YouTube comments, or any comments for that matter. You should give zero f***s about what other people say, including your parents, your friends, your brother, whatever, if you're truly pursuing something that you love and something that has value and something that you work hard at for quite a while and have some patience at. But outside of that, without going too far on a tangent, I think responding to people who take the time to watch your video makes perfect sense. So I'm going to do that. I have been doing that. I've been responding to many of you over the course of the last few weeks when I started doing videos. And I have a few videos up now, and I've found it pretty entertaining to see what you guys are saying and also interacting with everybody. So I thought it would be a great idea to take a video of me responding to comments live. Let's start with my video with Harrison Neville and where we went sneaker shopping. First one, AVE. Who else thought that was a doghouse by the pool? I think she's referring to the fact that when Harrison came by to the house, he rolled up in my rear driveway, and that driveway is for the guest house access and the backyard. So that house by the pool is the guest house, pool house, carriage house. It's actually all of those things. And that's probably what she's referring to. All right. Razvigor 1985. Never wear high top shoes when you are not tall. It cuts your legs and you look even shorter. Keep lows and mid shoes. Okay, well, since I think you can tell I'm shorter than Harrison, but I'm 5'9", so I'm not super tall, but that makes sense. I'll see how it is. I haven't really worn a lot of the high top ones just because it's getting warmer. I've worn most of the mids and lows as he suggested, but just because they're smaller and they take up less of my foot and ankle area, so that kind of makes sense to me. Car is official. Am I the only one who noticed that he almost curved the rims on the rolls? I have the 360-degree cameras, so I can see exactly where I am in relation to curves. Polydorus Papadopoulos. Oh, he's obviously Greek. He says, Haas, all I got, man. 2 minutes later, I got 40 pairs of Ferragamos, one for every situation. Like, what the f? So I've run a number of companies and been in the business world for quite a while, as well as consulting, things like that. So when I would buy shoes, I gravitated toward many of the Italian designers, and Ferragamo happens to be my favorite brand of shoes. So I have a lot of Ferragamos over the years. And so people kept saying, well, I have 40 Ferragamos. You're flexing. I'm just saying this is what I have. This is what I mean. I'm sure most of you sneakerheads have bought more than 40 pairs of shoes in your entire lifetime. So it's not that crazy to me, but I do have one for most every situation, different colors, things like that. But I also feel like they're different shoes. Each one is relatively different. I don't like to get the same pair of shoes in just different colors. I don't feel like there's great value in that unless there's some great utility in those pairs of shoes. But in any case, that's how I have 40 pairs. It just kind of is what it is. All right, let's see who's next. Prince Sec. So we just gonna ignore the fact that this guy said N-words in 1410 to 1430 and literally then try to correct himself? What? Let's see what he's talking about. All right, so we're just about to jump to the spot he's talking about.
It's like kind of that next step. Like Nick is having a hard time getting to that next step because he doesn't feel like they look good on it.
Well, I don't know. I've never worn one. I've never put one on my foot.
Well, maybe we'll have you try on a Jordan 1 that I think you utilize 10.
So this is the part that I think is funny is obviously he's just interpreting what he thinks. He says, actually, Harrison is saying Nick, as in Nick the cameraman, not whatever you were thinking. So, just trying to start, I guess. Sebastian Pelazon. It's funny to see what people think about us and react who don't know anything about sneakers when they come into our sneaker world. That's fair. I think that was the point of the video. Blaze and Mia official. That tight lacing killed me. So I got a lot of these actually. The first few days and weeks I saw this, people were talking about the lacing. I don't know how to lace these properly. I just was, well, supposedly properly. I'm just lacing them the way I would normally lace shoes. Adrian Andres. That guy is a jerk. Okay. I'm not for everybody. All right. Cliff Bradford. LOL. I thought that was a taxi he was putting his shoes in for a second there. Well, okay. I guess because taxis are yellow, the Rolls is orange. He made the connection between yellow taxi and the orange Rolls. Fair. That would be an expensive taxi. All right. Gilly Beast. You should make a video with him, but buying clothes. I would do that. All right. Jacob Thomas. Those tie DIY, I think he means tie-dye, NMDs are actually made after the Indian festival Holi, and the colors represent the color powder that is thrown. Yeah, so obviously we did not know what it said before. What it does say is Rang, which is color. It was for the Holi festival. And for all the people there who don't know what the Holi festival is, go to your Instagram and search for the date of the Holi festival, and they'll be covered in rainbow powder. But I did not know that was for the shoe. So that's pretty cool. John Doe. Sounds anonymous. That store f***ing suck. Well, so when people get angry or say mean shit, again, it doesn't affect me, but I want to respond with positivity or empathy, trying to understand what they're saying, why they're saying it. But many times people are just trying to troll or just be an asshole, which is fine by me. I'm just going to respond the way I normally would. I don't get too affected positively or negatively. So if someone's like, you're the greatest, or someone's like, you're a asshole, I don't really care that much. It doesn't really affect me that much. And I think that's been helpful for me over the years, running my own companies, trying to figure out, what the best move is, and also just kind of moving through my life. It is liberating to live life for you. And the reality is that most people live life based on fear or judgment of others, whether it's their family or their friends, of what they will say. And then that's because of what they think, how much stock they put in what their friends and family say. And despite loving and caring for many people, it doesn't really affect me. But a lot of that comes from the fact that I think folks who have very high self-awareness, they have a strong core. And that core then doesn't allow for so many things that are said to be so impressionable to people. So that's just my perspective, just one guy's thoughts. So I've responded to a number of these already, just the ones that kind of stuck out to me before, which I thought was funny. Tanay Kumar, all that money and they got some real crap. And I responded, well, everyone poops and has opinions. And then Tanay Kumar says, Hasselhoff, haha, well said. All right, so see, even people that's like, saying negative or just coming from somewhat of a negative perspective, I like to approach it sometimes with humor. Sometimes I throw it right back. But a lot of times people who actually take the time to look back at it seem to receive it positively. So that's cool. Let's see. Okay, more. Yes, we know what it means in Hindi. Garth Irwin. He looks like Mr. Beast. I don't think so. Now, Harrison, on the other hand, he could look like Mr. Beast, maybe in the sense that they're both white guys with brownish hair, but otherwise, I just don't see it. And many of these actually I already responded to. Let's read some of those. All right, so Nuno Vega. He says, complete tools. Spending fortunes in some silly-looking shoes. Get a life, losers. Why are you watching sneaker videos? Sorry you feel that way. Buying shoes on a shoe channel. Rick Saw Dominator. Horse? Question mark, question mark? I responded, chicken? Question mark? It's just random. That's funny. Jason Traveled. Getting that feeling that only a new pair of sneakers can give. He was digging those clays. I was. At a value too. As you all already know, value is one of my things. A life. It's gross that people have pre-owned shoes. Bleh emoji. Mans with foot fungus prob had them beforehand. They seem very lightly used. At least the ones I got. And I even smelled them. I did in the video. Harris was talking about used shoes. And I was like, that's kind of a new concept to me. And he says, yeah, people do it all the time. So he handed me a pair of used shoes and I smelled them. Seemed like the right thing to do, right? Le Uno Man says, He doesn't have all his cars here, quote, he has only a few. Yeah, so what can I say? You know, it's funny because most of the time people are so surprised that I'll lend out my cars to, well, especially my friends. But even my friends are surprised. And the reason why is because they just sit there. I mean, I can't drive more than one car at a time. So even when my family's driving another car and I'm driving one car, that's only 2 cars. And we've got 6, or now 5. I just got rid of the Porsche. It just makes sense if someone needs a car or someone wants one that is an exotic that they want to drive and they're thinking about buying them or they just need a car. I will happily lend out my cars because no one's using them. So might as well get used. Just sits in the garage otherwise. You know what? It is starting to get really nice out. Might go outside. Such a nice day out right now. It turned into a nice day. It was rainy and gross earlier, but now it's a nice day. I'll just continue this outside. Take you with me. All right, so I am here in my screen porch area and it's such a beautiful day outside. I wanted to continue this while enjoying nature, the outdoors, weather, etc. So I'm gonna sit here at my desk and I get to look out on the privacy of our backyard, which I value quite a bit, and finish responding to YouTube comments. I'm outside now enjoying the weather and I'll get back to it. Ben Jenkins says, Haas seems like a good dude. Thanks, Ben. You too. Cameron Dearman says, Haas is getting heat for saying that the Dornbecker shoes are ugly, but like a lot of times are, and that's part of the style. Okay, yeah, fair thoughts. I happen to share them as well. Tim Waugh says, Hasselhoff has some hilarious comments. Looking forward to his vlogs. Thanks, Tim. Glad you appreciate my comment responses. Just doing me. Judd Issam says, 1830, I'm a cheapo. Your cars and house and basically everything you say says otherwise. He seems like a chill guy, though. Thanks, Judd. I am pretty chill, especially when I'm alone. I get pretty amped up, though, around other people as an extrovert. But that's how irony and sarcasm works. When I said I'm a cheapo, I was being sarcastic. Some people, I guess, just didn't pick up on that. Mose Jacob says, flex. I don't really know how to respond to that. YT Dubs 876 says, he is a multimillionaire and he tripping for $4,000. I think YT Dubs here is missing the point of what value actually means to me. Hence why I didn't purchase the $4,000 sneakers. They're not a value. It doesn't mean that I can't afford them. It means it's not a value to me. But let's talk about that. So value to me can be spending a large amount of money on a car because the value that I get out of that is obviously different than it is for most. But that's worthwhile to me. I get value out of that. Whereas $4,000 in a sneaker, not so much. Maybe not yet. Soder305 says, obviously we wouldn't have all picked these sneakers. True. But obviously this guy was a sneakerhead on the inside. I say that because he picked what he liked, not because it was trendy. Great video. Thanks, Soder. I think you're right. That's exactly what I did. I think more people should do that. You know, not to criticize the way that others do things. I just do it the way I want to do it. Glad you enjoyed the video. CZ Crusader CZ says, in 2403, my guy just compared shoes I own to Off-White and said they are the same. Yeah, and as I recall, they were basically the same shoe. It's just one had some like writing on it, some typeface, and some random orange threading on the swoosh. Otherwise, it was the same shoe. So, seems like the same shoe to me. Not a value. Loti says, this gay, he means guy, is multimillionaire, and he say $600 is expensive. Yeah, my perspective hasn't changed on what I think is expensive. And again, expensive doesn't necessarily mean cost. To me, it can also incorporate aspects of value. So $600 for, you know, a drink of water, I think most people, virtually everyone, would say that's expensive. But if you have $600 million and you're in the desert and someone wants to charge you $600 for a glass of water, that's not expensive, is it? That just sounds darn right cheap and fantastic. Obviously, it's all relative. Your situation, what's valuable to you. And so $600 being expensive, I mean, for me, it's for sneakers. I just thought it was expensive. It doesn't mean I can't afford it or that it's actually objectively cheap or expensive. I'm not sure I really believe in that. Unless it's so much above a market value, then you could objectively say it's expensive. But given that these are at the market values that people are buying them for, it's just not a value to me at that cost. So just not something I care much about. Truth Pigeon says, American men are turning into women. I'm not sure, putting aside the blatant sexism there, I'm not really sure what Truth Pigeon is referring to. That doesn't sound like truth to me, Mr. Pigeon. Jack Bertram says, I'm with this guy. Some of those shoes don't look good, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, and if they don't look good, don't buy them. To you. Unless you're buying them to collect them and hope they increase in value and have inventory, then that's a different thing. But if you're just buying something for you that you enjoy, only get what you enjoy. The idea of buying something because people think it's cool is the exact opposite of everything that I would say I'm about and is the road to happiness. When I was younger, I think, much younger, perhaps in my early 20s, late teens, I definitely thought like that. You know, you grow up, sometimes people don't, but you tend to kind of figure out what works for you and what doesn't, and being comfortable with who you are and what you like, I think is a part of self-awareness and the steps toward happiness. Ice says, what is the store called, please? Well, we do mention the video, but if you didn't watch the whole video, it's Hype 2407. It's a 2407 in Atlanta. So check it out. Ashlyn Wang says, that watch though, AP Royal Oak? Yes, it is. The watch I was wearing in that video was my Audemars Piguet Royal Oak chronograph. It's stainless and one of my favorite ones because it's kind of understated in my everyday watch. So I'm a big watch fan. I used to be a much more involved watch enthusiast into all the different movements and many different brands. And it's something I started collecting when I was a teenager, when my grandfather gave me a watch. And it was always like, hey, look, you know, nice stuff is fun, but enjoy your life, spend your money towards happiness and experiences, things like that. Bubba Dakilla says, I'd rather have normal friends instead of a rich friend with literally no personality. Well, not literally, but you know, aside from your poor use of diction, I'm not sure what to say about that. It's obviously everyone has their own opinion. That's fine. Apparently, Bubba Dakilla doesn't think that I have a personality, which is fine. Can't please everyone. Joseph Perlmutter says, he said he likes to be cheap, yet the video calls him a multimillionaire. Yeah, so again, one, that was sarcasm, and two, I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive anyway. So when I said I was a cheapo, again, as another person said it was a joke. Sarcasm is lost on many people. But two, it doesn't, you can still be cheap and be a billionaire. I mean, I know people like that, actually. I know billionaires who are kind of cheap. So it doesn't mean that you can be and not be one. That one is not the inverse of the other. You know what I mean? So Kiko says, it's a shoe, wear it, bro. Love this man. Thanks, Kiko. Just my perspective. I guess it does kind of encompass how I view things in life, because in the end, it's just stuff. Like, you can't take it with you, like my grandfather would say. And, you know, if you derive happiness from a thing or stuff, or whether it's cars or watches or shoes, you might initially get pretty happy about owning it, things like that. But if that's truly the source of your happiness, you're bound to be unhappy. It's going to set you up for disaster in the long run. I've seen it before, and I don't recommend it, but it's not a way, I think, of living life that in the long run. I don't mean like next year. I mean like in 50, 60, 80 years when you're on your deathbed. I just don't think it's a life worth living, and most people do come to that conclusion. It's just usually they do it late. And if you've ever worked with elderly folks or even end of life folks, I used to work in a hospice center, and I get a lot of perspective being around those people, and I highly recommend it if you ever get a chance. Plus, it's a great thing to do for those people, especially those without family. Brian Jameson says, orange is the best color. I agree. Miles Vinton says, every car guy when a non-car YouTuber tries to talk about cars. I don't know what that emoticon is called, but yeah, why is that? Apparently Miles doesn't think that anyone can talk about cars unless you're a vaunted car YouTuber. Seems odd to me. I guess Miles didn't appreciate anyone else's thoughts on cars except for people who are known to only talk about cars. Ioannis Petropoulos, another Greek. The Audi do be nicer than the Rolls though. Everyone has an opinion of what is nice. So, I mean, I don't think so, but hey, who am I? Just a guy on the internet. Like, who gives a shit? You know, if you like a Honda, that's nicer than a Rolls-Royce to you, great. Who's anyone to say otherwise? DK Gaming. Haas is low-key Hugo Boss. I don't know how that works. I don't think there's anything similar there, but thanks for the compliment. Hugo Boss is pretty cool. Matt on Keys. Man really said people really wear used shoes. And I had previously responded, it was a new concept to me. And Matt on Keys responds, shut yo rich up. Okay. Matt on Keys, you sound pretty angry. I hope life gets better for you and you find pleasure and other things. F***ing D over here. Nick Case says, bro, I love this guy. He is awesome. The stuff he says is just so logical. Really funny. Thanks, Nick. I'm generally pretty logical. I think so. But thanks for the compliment. Mathis Bonvin says, cool camo shoes. And I will respond, yeah, I do think my camo shoes are cool. Those are the, if I recall correctly, the Adidas Bape Ultra Boost 2, something like that. Team Fear says, how are you going to start blogging, have money for a Rolls-Royce, and hold the video camera yourself? Well, one, I'm not afraid of doing things myself. I don't know why, if you have money, that you think that you wouldn't do things yourself. And two, the COVID craziness shit kind of prevents me from having somebody else. So I kind of started right at the same time as the COVID-19 stuff started getting nuts. And so I think it would be irresponsible for me to bring someone on at this juncture, but I probably will in the near future. But I don't think there's anything wrong with someone doing something yourself. In fact, I like doing a lot of things myself. I used to have folks doing the yard work, the landscaping, and I actually enjoy it more doing myself, especially when I have the time. The value is there for me. Before it wasn't, and now it is. I have the time and I do enjoy it, so I do it myself. There's, you know, I've gotten some questionable looks before from my friends, or people that I know really, ask me like, why would you do that yourself? They think just because you can afford it, that you should pay someone else to do it. Now, I would agree for things that if I could afford it and it made sense and I didn't enjoy it, I would absolutely not do it. For example, cooking. I don't cook. I just don't. I don't enjoy it. There's a lot of people who do. Great. I basically pay others to make food all the time, whether it's going out or paying someone to do it here at the house. It makes no difference to me. It's just not something I enjoy. You can do things yourself. Nothing wrong with that. And if you can afford it and it makes sense to you, you don't have to. Gold Jack Urger says his house looks like a house that I would have built in Minecraft in 2nd grade. Thanks. I've never played Minecraft, but it's just the backyard that he was seeing, and I think he's referring to some of the granite steps and the walls there, so I guess. I don't know. Aladdin's Joy says, this dude is so humble for a millionaire. Well, you seem pretty humble for a prince. D Gonzo says, ha ha ha, I've seen his orange Rolls-Royce at the airport once. Crazy to see him on the channel. I actually did. He's right. I did leave my Rolls-Royce there and parked it towards the front in the deck once at the Atlanta airport. And it was because I was in a rush, and I normally don't leave that car because it's, you know, kind of silly to leave that car in a parking lot for days. But I normally don't do that. But I was in a rush and didn't want to miss my flight. I didn't have time to go back from the office to my house and then to the airport. So I headed to the airport and left it there. And sure enough, someone did me. I parked it there at the airport, and when I came back, I noticed a large dent in the back near the rear brake light. So it sucks, but D Gonzo, let me know if you saw who did that. Kevin Wisniewski says, that Wraith looks ugly as hell. Orange. Dope car though. Well, fortunately, the guy who owns it happens to really like the orange, so that's all that matters, right? Amatula Net says the $60 shoes were really the best. I mean, it's good value, right? Jackson Bowles says, I don't like this guy at all. You don't have to like me or anyone. I don't like most tall lamps. Just is. Jay Doyle says, one of the more entertaining videos seeing new people get into it. Thanks, man. I had fun getting into it. I think that was the point that Harrison was making, was that you could take someone like me and make a good video and have fun introducing me to sneaker culture. Well, I think that's it for now. I think that wraps up my initial response to YouTube comments video, but I appreciate you stopping by and watching. See you next time.